Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome to another episode in the U19 mini-series where we go over all of the new stuff in Warframe's latest update. I'm your host, BouseFeenux, and today we're covering the newly reworked Archwing mode. Let's jump in. First off, if my voice sounds terrible, I apologize. I was out until 2 a.m. last night walking around my neighborhood looking for Pokemon, and I think I may have come down with something. Anyway, let's talk about some of the changes made to Archwing with U19. The first thing you should know is that two new mission types have been added, Archwing Pursuit and Archwing Rush. In Archwing Pursuit mode, which can be initiated from Pandora on Saturn, you're supposed to be hunting down a heavily defended Grineer ship that the Lotus wants you to decommission so she can acquire it. The mission pretty much centers on you taking down this ship, and to do so, you'll have to disable its various defenses. Things like turrets, shield, and even its thrusters. If you guys recall the U19 expectations video I made about a week ago, you'll remember how excited I was for this mode. From the text description they gave us, it sounded like something that was going to be on a grand scale, like a massive ship battle, and I thought we'd be seeing something like the ship battles maybe from the Star Wars games. Unfortunately, I'm not as happy with the finished product as I thought I'd be. The ship is barely larger than your Archwing, and the whole thing just feels like the Archwing version of a capture mission with a few extra things to shoot before you can grab the target. It's not all bad though, I guess, because I think this is a step in the right direction, but I still don't think it's enough to get me playing Archwing regularly. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this mode though, so make sure to let me know in the comments. Moving on now to our second mode, Archwing Rush, which is found on Kepler Phobos, is a mission type that will have players racing through a map against a timer in order to destroy a few Corpus supply ships, all while dodging obstacles along the way. The faster you make it to the supply ships, the more of them you can destroy, and supposedly the greater your reward will be. This was another mode I was very excited to see implemented, but much like Archwing Pursuit, I was pretty disappointed in the finished product. For starters, even if you clear out the maximum of 3 Corpus freighters, I didn't really see any significant reward. From the dialogue you get in-game, they make these supply ships sound extremely vital to the Corpus cause, and you'd think they'd have more on them than a few uncommon fusion cores and a paltry amount of credits. Secondly, when I read the description for this mission type, I thought we'd get some sort of endless type mission where we try to destroy as many of these supply ships as possible. I was expecting it to have sort of an arcade feel to it, like a time trial in Galaga or something where the ships keep spawning and we have a certain amount of time to take them out for a score that shares on a leaderboard or something like that. Maybe it's my fault for having high expectations, or maybe I just completely misunderstood, but again though, I'd like to see how you guys feel about this mission type. Along with these two new mission types, they've also added a few new tweaks to how we gain Archwing parts. If you notice, you can now purchase certain Archwing parts from your syndicates for standing. I thought this was a pretty cool addition because if any of you have farmed for Archwing parts, you know it can be quite the grind. Additionally, you probably noticed that they've added essentially a new support Archwing called Amesha, along with a few new weapons and some mods. I'll be covering these sometime in the future in greater detail as a watch it in action video, so don't fret about me not going into depth with these just yet. And finally, I've saved the best for last. With this new update, they've given Archwing a new control scheme and feel when actually playing it. This is probably my biggest gripe about the new Archwing update because I felt it was probably the most unnecessary thing to change. I can't speak for the rest of you guys, but personally, I really liked the way Archwing used to control. Out of all the complaints the community had about Archwing, I never saw too many people saying, we need a new control scheme. I'm not sure what it's like on console, but for mouse and keyboard, I'm having a super difficult time getting adjusted to it. I feel like, if anything, I have way less control over my Archwing now than I did before. Every move I make feels delayed and loose, and it's difficult to turn sharp corners or avoid obstacles. Most of you are probably screaming in your computer monitors by now that I need to get good, but honestly, I feel like we could have done without this one. In summary, most of you know that I usually take a positive outlook to things, but with this update, I'm really disappointed in how Archwing turned out. I really thought the things they were adding would seriously add some more incentive to play Archwing more. If anything, with the new control scheme, they pretty much made it less accessible for me at least. I am curious to see what you guys think about all this, though. Is Archwing ruined? Do you like it even more with these changes? Tell me in the comments. Until then, I'm BouseFeenux. I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.